Okay, everyone, I wanted to talk a little bit about calculating your year card. It's pretty simple. What you're going to do is you're going to add the month and the day of your birthday to the current year. So, for example, my birthday is August. That is the 8th month, and the day of my birth is the 18th, and that equals 26. The current year is 2019 at 2019. Okay, then we come up with a number. So what you do with that number is you add the digits across. So we end up with 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 and 5 is an 11. So as long as your number is 22 or below, and 22 is the fool, by the way, because the fool is 0, so you're not going to come up with 0 by adding. So if you end up with 22 or below, then you have a number you can use. So my year number for this year is 11. Also related to that year card is the 2, because 1 and 1 is 2, because you can keep reducing. Okay, so that's all you have to do for your year card. Now I'm going to show you something else that's a little more for geeky spreadsheet people. You do not have to do this. But just figure your year card. And just as a side note, you can say your year card starts on January 1st of that year, like this year it started January 1st, 2019, or it starts on your birthday of that year. So once again, going back to my example with the 11, I could say my year card starts on my birthday, or I could say it started this year in January. So I've messed around with it kind of both ways, and I don't know. I don't really have an answer on which way to do it. So you can just kind of see that the difference between your birthday and the beginning of the year is kind of a transition period if you want. And if your birthday is closer to January, then you have less of a transition period. But if you're born like November 30th, then you've got 11 months of a transition period. So I don't know. You're just gonna have to play with it. But calculate your year card. So for those of you that are a little more geeky spreadsheet, you can map the patterns of your year cards. And that's it's rather insightful to do this, because you can look back at certain years and go, okay, well, I'm in a 5 year this year. What happened last time I was in a 5 year, and the previous time I was in a 5 year? And depending how old you are, how far back you can go. So basically, you just make a spreadsheet, and I can share this guy with you, and you can make a copy and put your own information in there. But it's not really complete. You can't calculate everything, because I'm not that much of a spreadsheet geek in order to know how to program all that. But maybe somebody out there is. But anyway, basically, you have a spreadsheet. You can put your age starting with 0, because that's the year you were born. Once again, month plus day, which in my case is 8 plus 18, which is 26. And you can copy that all the way down, because you always have the same month and day. And then you put the year starting with the year you were born. And you just run that as far out as you want. So I have that mine all the way up to age 96, which will be 2064. But you can do whatever period you want there. And then what you do is you're going to have these sum columns. So this sum 1 is adding this month and day plus this year, and then it gives me this number, which you then reduce in the next column. Okay, so it's the 23, so I can't do anything with 23. So then I add 2 and 3, and I get 5. So that's the year I was born was a 5 year. And then they all of this, you can keep adding 1, and it's going to go in sequential order. This first sum column will go in sequential order. You won't have any gaps. When you start reducing, that's where you get these patterns, where you can start seeing the patterns. So you can see it goes 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and then it goes to 2, and then it goes all the way to 11, and then 11 reduces to a 2, and so then the next number is a 3. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Like if you're not a geeky number spreadsheet person, just please ignore this. But if this is interesting to you, this is something you can do. And you can follow these patterns, and you can see how as you get older, you get more numbers in the sequence before it cuts back. So this, seeing this pattern, I got to the 12 and then it went to 4. And then I go to the 13 and it goes to the 5. And then I go from the 14 and it goes to the 6. Okay, so that's where you can, and you can figure, if you're doing the spreadsheet, you can see where the breakpoints are. Like this 2000 is going to be a 2. You see what I'm saying? And so then you can find like another breakpoint, like the 2010 is going to be a 3, and then you can kind of fill in. You can just fill in sequentially in between. I said, and like I said, unless you know how to have Excel add each of these digits, which I don't know how to do that, you know, otherwise then you're just gonna have to do it by hand, and then you'll have to reduce by hand in the next column. So the most reductions you could have would be 2 other reductions. So you'll have 3 sum columns, sum 2, 3, and 4, and that's the furthest you need to go out. You won't get anything further than that. And so you can just do that, and you can see the patterns. So like I said, if you're saying, okay, I'm in an 11 year, well, when was the last time I was in an 11 year? Well, that was in 1983, and then I was also in one in 1982 and in 2001. Well, that's interesting. That's when my son was born. And in 2010, and then here we are in 2019, and I'm in one again. So you can see it goes forward 9, and then it resets. So you can play with that. Like I said, that is not. I'm just adding this as an extra for people who are interested. You can play with the spreadsheet. If not, then don't do that. And I'll see you next time. And also, if you came across this video randomly, you can sign up for the free online tarot class. I'll put a link in the description.